Catch-22. This is the mini-series by George Clooney and Grant Heslov. At least they're behind the scenes. There's two other writers involved whose name I can't remember. Based on the book, it's essentially about a military battalion, an American group in Italy during World War II, and the main character does not want to be there. He does not want to go into this battle. He does not want to go into fight. He does not want to die, essentially. So he's doing everything he can to try and come up with loads of excuses just to get out of combat. And no matter what happens, it keeps twisting around. He keeps getting put back in there. It is a comedy at its core, I would say. There's a lot of funny moments in there, a lot of surprising moments in there. I do recommend the show. It's 6 episodes. They're all about 45 minutes each. It's well done, well directed, well paced. Towards the end of the season, it actually gets really dark and serious, and I'm not going to say what happens, but it goes from being a war show with comedic elements to being more of a war show with dark, twisted tonal elements in there. So it's kind of two things, but the actual transition I think is it's good to a point. There is like a sudden point where it's like, oh wow, that's really dark, and I did not expect that in this show. So yeah, that kind of feels a bit out of place. I loved the ending. I liked how it wrapped things up, or did it wrap things up? The characters are likable for the most part, although there's a lot of characters. So there's only really the main group of characters whose names that I actually learnt. So there's the main character who's called Jack or John. Again, I can't remember. That shows everything. But great performance from the main character, how he's constantly scheming and trying to come up with things to get out of the war. There's a lot of good jokes and humour with wordplay and with sentences. Kyle Chandler's in there, he's brilliant. George Clooney's in there a little bit, he's good. The other character, Major, yeah, his name is Major. They then think he's the major, so he gets promoted to being a major, so he's Major. That's kind of the whole thing with his character. His character's kind of just there. It establishes him early on that maybe he's going to be important, but then he doesn't really do anything throughout the whole show. Hugh Laurie's in there for like 5 minutes. His character kind of shows up, he seems important, and then there's a joke relating to what happens to his character, and overall, throughout this season, he's literally probably only in 5 minutes of this show. That's disappointing. So yeah, it is a war story. There is a lot of good comedy in there. It's not an action show. There is some action-y moments in there, but don't expect this to be like a big action TV show. It's more about the psychological effects of war. It's more about the futility of war, and I like the themes that are in there, and I liked how it addressed that. I do kind of recommend it if you're interested, but it's not a must-watch.